Anyway, okay. Wednesday, November 15th. Good morning, Hyatt 9 News viewers. This is Yaro Kubrin from Northern California, where there are no manatees, tornadoes, hurricanes, retirees, or alligators. My article today is about cannabis and cruise ships. Cruise lines are forced to remind passengers they're not allowed to smoke marijuana on ships as passenger volume creeps up to a pre-pandemic level. As states across the U.S. continue to ease penalties for the use of marijuana, cruise lines are reaffirming their stance on the drug as the number of guests rise to pre-pandemic levels. In August, the Cruise Line International Association predicted that passenger volume would surpass pre-pandemic levels with 31.5 million passengers this year. But with more guests comes a higher likelihood that there will be at least a few that break the rules. Travelers may want to think twice about bringing marijuana on board, as discovery of the drug may lead to fines, arrests, and a ban on future trips. At Royal Caribbean International, home of the world's largest cruise ship, Wonder of the Seas, marijuana use is strictly prohibited. In no event shall any passenger bring on board the vessel any illegal controlled substances, including medical marijuana, the cruise line's policy reads. It adds that marijuana possession and its use is prohibited in many jurisdictions visited. However, they are designated smoking areas on board for cigars, cigarettes, and vapes, not cannabis vapes. Disney Cruise Line has adopted a similar stance. In accordance with the United States federal regulations and local laws in the destinations we visit, illegal narcotics, including synthetic designer drugs and marijuana, even if legal where you reside and medically prescribed, are prohibited on board the ships and on Disney Castaway Cay, the policy reads. There are even areas throughout the ships where guests are free to use cigarettes and e-cigarettes. Carnival Cruise Line has made its position very clear, as evidenced by a February 2023 video message from President Christine Duffy. Duff. Her last name is Duff. In case there's any confusion, let me remind guests that while marijuana and cannabis products may be legal in some states, we're required to follow the federal law, irrespective of the law in the state where you may be boarding your ship, Duffy said. The cruise ship encourages guests to consult with their physician for other suitable alternatives. Furthermore, all suites and outside balconies are non-smoking. Those who violate the policy will be charged $500 per violation. Guests who disembark for violating our policy will be responsible for all financial charges and expenses to return home, and no refund of their unused cruise fare will be provided, the policy reads. They may be banned from sailing with Carnival in the future. This policy is not going to age well, Carnival. Good luck with that. On Norwegian cruise ships, all drugs, including marijuana prescribed for medical purposes, are prohibited. This includes all products containing CBD, oils, candies, gummies, or any product containing THC, the policy reads. Violators are subject to arrest and prosecution and may be prevented from reboarding the ship. At Viking Cruises, marijuana possession and use, including medical marijuana and CBD oil, is strictly prohibited. Passengers who violate the law of any jurisdiction are subject to being reported to law enforcement or customs authorities, arrest, and prosecution, the policy reads. Those who bring dangerous items like weapons and marijuana, oh my God, how do you even put those in the same category, are also subject to immediate embarkation or denial of boarding. That sounds like they're going to keel haul you and throw you over while they're in the water. Passengers will have no claim for loss or damage under such circumstances. Cruises may rely on enforcement tactics like scanning all bags passengers bring on board, requiring guests to re-enter security after each step, and dispatching staff to sniff out illegal substances. All right. So I've given you enough to think about, enough to chew on. What do you think? Are these cruise ships like Russia and passengers like Brittany Grenier? I want to hear what you guests think here on Hyatt Eyes. Fine. Rico, what do you think? Dale, what do you think? Crazy, right?
No.
Crazy.
What's crazy is that people think that they can bring these things on cruise lines when it's all governed by international waters. That's the crazy part to me.
But if it's international waters, that would mean that there's no government controlling what's happening on that cruise ship because it's in international waters. So why then?
No, the Coast Guard would have jurisdiction. That's a federal agency, Yaro.
Does Coast Guard have jurisdiction in
Yep.
international waters or just in federal waters?
It's all international waters until it goes to another country that takes the jurisdiction that has a similar coast guard. But there is a jurisdictional.
Yeah, unless I know the owner of that boat or who's driving that shit, and I speak to them directly, and they tell me I'm allowed to smoke on that boat. I'm just not gonna smoke on that boat because you're literally a sitting duck
100%.
out there. If something goes down, Coast Guard comes up, or some police boats come up and apprehend your ass. Like, I err on the side of caution when it comes to shit like that, because I know my ass. Like, I might have some words to say with said authority figures, and it'll end up being something that ends up on the
You're
news.
saying
just
it'll
like this.
escalate.
It will escalate quickly because chances are, if I'm on a cruise ship or whatever, I've been drinking heavily too, and the crossfade is most definitely in full effect. And knowing myself,
Liquid stupid reaction. Yeah.
I don't want that smoke, literally and figuratively. So
I'm coming up with
that's just me. That's just me in my version of common sense. But I don't know. Anybody
coming
else?
up with the Diva hybrid cross with Dramamine, and I'm gonna sell it to all the new cruise passengers.
Yeah, if I don't know who owns that boat, I don't know who's the skipper or the captain of said ship. Chances are I'm not going to be smoking, at least publicly, on said ship at all.
Well,
'Cause I don't know any of those other people on the boat either. They're gonna snitch real quick, too.
I know. I know. I was on a cruise one time, and I had some flour with me, and what I would do is I would walk to the bow of the boat at the end of the night, and I could smoke there when pretty much everyone had gone to bed for the most part, and the smoke is just dissipating off of the ship and just into the ocean. And most of the people that were on this cruise ship also, a lot of them were smoking in their rooms, like old school style, and using the toilet, flushing it down the toilet, old school style. Like clocked. And when you're in a cruise ship, like, you're in a small little bathroom. It's like being in an RV bathroom, and then those toilets have a lot of suction power going on. And so it'll just suck that smoke up right there and dissipate it. But you know what's funny is there were some people that got snitched on the boat by some of the crew. And as soon,
Of course.
and before they let anybody get off of the ship, they had the drug dogs come on and go and sniff their room and find whatever they could find and whatever before they would let anybody off of the ship in the first place.
It's bad PR.
Yes.
Bad PR. Because going forward, cannabis is only going to be made more legal and lawful. And if these ships want to attract people, if it's not a kid cruise, which I can understand you don't want people smoking on a kid cruise, you're going to have an adult cruise. At some point, they're going to have to face the fact that you can't enforce this unless you're really draconian. And do you want to do that?
Well, here's the thing, though, Dale. I understand your point with the kid cruises, but at the same time, those kids aren't on the cruises by themselves. There's a lot of parents that are taking their kids on there, and they have designated adult areas. Like, there's casinos on the ship and whatnot, in different places where it's only for adults, and minors can't enter those areas, and those spaces should be protected to allow adults to use whatever they want.
If anything, get like a dry flower vaporizer if you got to do flower. Like, I wouldn't even take those take the risk of igniting some a joint or something like that. I commend you, Jason. You also present yourself as white.
Stop it.
And you most likely
I can't help
people would snitch on me before they snitched on you.
I can't help how people interpretate me or classify me into whenever they
that's privilege.
I don't find that as privilege. That's not a privilege.
It is privilege.
No, that's not. That's just people not asking and people being ignorant and just choosing to classify.
You as a certain way, they're most likely going to be viewing me as a threat. I'm a large black man.
You're just saying that, bro, because you played football.
And ruining somebody's family experience. That's what it be saying.
By definition, those who have privilege are less likely to recognize the privilege they have than those who don't have privilege and see the privilege of other people.
I don't buy into any of that hype bullshit. None of it.
Ah.
None of it.
Oh,
It's all
you can
hype.
you can just look at data. You can just look at raw data.
Yeah, you can look at raw data.
And
I agree.
where you get your raw data,
and,
just look at
and I
Twitter.
can extrapolate plenty of
Just look
things
at-
out of
just
that
look
raw
at
data too. It's
.com.
all bullshit.
Jason, this
It is
ship
what it is.
failed. The statistics are already in and the data is there.
I understand,
so
and it's how you read those statistics and how you perceive it, which creates your reality. And what I'm telling you is that it's all bullshit.
No,
So
it's,
on
no,
cruise
it's real.
cruise ships,
Yeah.
8.7%
Listen, guys,
of the enforcement action is against. No, I'm just kidding. We don't.
Yeah, I was gonna say you don't got none of them kind of numbers, Yarrow. That's cute.
If you put that on Twitter, Yarrow, I believe Jason will believe you.
You guys are
Pretty
so
sure.
funny.
hey, just to bring some
must be
reality
true.
back to this, guys. When I was in the Navy, you wanted to smoke weed, you went to the fantail because the wind was blowing away from the back of the ship.
Exactly.
And we had to have anything that might be alcohol had to be drinkable alcohol because the drunks on the ship would find it. So there are certain realities about what happens on ships. And Jason, said you went to the bow. I'd recommend the fantail.
Oh wait, I was at the back of the boat. Isn't that the bow?
I thought you
That's
just
the
a brand called the
that's
Barrel Boys, and you were in the hall.
No. I was all the way on the back of the boat. I thought
that's
that
the
was-
forecastle. You know, that's the main mast, dude. Come on. Yeah,
Come on, Jason.
Whatever.
Were you even on the boat, Jason?
I was on the boat,
We have
100%. 100%. I was there for like 5 days. They had great food too. Oh, it was amazing. It was amazing. But thank you so much for that story, Yarrow. We're gonna go to a commercial and we're gonna be right back.